Hey, my name is Celeste. I'm a professional dog listener and human listener, and my job is to help you understand your dog, understand the nature of the dog, and in my videos on this channel, you will find tips and recommendations for more harmonious and happy life with your dog. So if you feel like you have trouble understanding the way your dog is communicating, or it's difficult to be at the training spot and your dog is not listening, or you have maybe your dog is pulling on the lead, or your dog is barking at home, or it's jumping at you, whatever the symptom is, there's always an explanation. Today I want to talk about what's important to think about before you go out and buy a dog, before you invite a dog into your life. A little bit about me. I am originally from Denmark. I live in Stockholm, Sweden, and I work in both countries, and I also offer online consultations through phone, and I have online courses for dog owners. And I've been loving dogs my whole life. I've had my own dog since I was 19, but before that I was always walking other people's dogs. I was very interested in the relationship between the human being and the dogs, and I wanted to understand the dogs and know what can we do if the dog gets aggressive, fearful, have anxiety, or if it has all these symptoms that something is not right in the relationship. So when I talk about these symptoms, which is like problems in the human world, it means that the dog is not getting what you want from it. The dog is confused and the dog doesn't know what to do. So instead of waiting for the dog to get even more confused, you help it by understanding what's going on in the mind of the dog. This is a very holistic and back to nature approach I work with. I don't work with these collars that sits here on the throat and strangle the dog whenever you want it to do something and it doesn't do it. You pull the leash. I don't work with that. I work with the silent communication. I work with patience, and I've been working with dogs in many different countries and with many different issues, and it's all about the owner. If the owner is willing to help the dog, then there's always hope. So I'm actually here to educate you, because the dog already knows. I have two dogs on in my home. I have two rescues, one Irish Red Setter, and my other dog Mooney is from Portugal. She's from a shelter. And I love working with rescue dogs because they are so forgiving and loving and thankful. They are very smart, especially Mooney, who's been living on the streets. She has a different way of knowing things, and her instincts are very intact. And my other dog here, she's from a kennel, and she had other experiences in her first year of living, and I helped them both, and they are fantastic family dogs. And Mooney was actually a problem for the rescue center because she bit a man and they didn't know what to do with her. And not because I work magic or anything, but because I understand where she comes from and I understand the situation she was in. I was able to help her and show her that I'm not going to put pressure on you. And here we are. She stayed in my house. I was supposed to just help her move into a new family, but she stayed here, and I think that was the purpose all along. So anyway, back to things to think about before you actually buy a dog, because maybe some of you are here because you're thinking about buying a dog, and it's really important that we prepare ourselves before we go out and give a dog a new home. And it doesn't matter whether it's a puppy or rescue, older, younger dog. It's very important that we know what we want to do with the dog. First of all, I would say, are you aware that a dog is not a human being? Are you aware that you're not inviting a baby into your house? It is a dog. It has very, very sharp teeth. It is very strong, and it has a survival instinct. So if you think of the dog as a baby, as your child, and you're gonna behave the way you would with a baby, which is not really natural because a child also needs structures and frames and leadership, you're gonna have a little monster. this is what I see a lot with dog owners. They they behave with a dog like it was a baby. And when the dog, if you say it's a puppy, when the puppy is 2 years old, they have a little monster and they call me and they tell me, what can we do? We have this monster, it's biting, it's not listening. And this is because we humans, we love to treat dogs as humans and as babies. So before you buy a dog, you really have to make sure you're not thinking that the dog is gonna be another child. This is not a replacement for your children moving away from the home. This is not a replacement for something you can't fill up your own heart with. The dog needs your guidance any day, any time. It's not a dog that comes here to fix you. The dog is gonna help you grow as a human being, but it's not a dog that's gonna fix you. You don't need to fix the dog, you need to help the dog and create a safe environment for the dog. So first of all, don't look at the dog as a baby or as a human being. If you have these feelings, I would recommend that you wait a little bit with buying a dog, because if you have all these feelings towards the dog, it's gonna create problems in your relationship, because the puppy or the rescue is not able to help you to be the responsible person for you. So actually, when you think the dog is a baby, the dog is gonna treat you as a baby, and then you have all the problems. The next thing I would say to you is really think about what kind of dog would you want, because all dogs speak dog, but then we have different breeds. So if you're looking for a family dog, maybe you should choose a dog with that temperament. Maybe you shouldn't choose a small dog, which is like a guard dog, which would bark a lot and try to control things. And maybe you shouldn't choose like the most high energy German Shepherd in the world. Try to find the balance, try to find the breed that's gonna fit your family. And actually I would even take that further, and I would say if I had the opportunity to help all of you find a dog, I would also look at the personality. Because the personality of the dog is the most important thing. All dogs have different personalities. All dogs react differently in different situations. And if you know that you got the right personality for you, then you have a match. So it's quite difficult to tell you how to investigate the puppy or the dog before you meet it. But if you're not a high energy person and you meet a dog with a lot of energy, which can be also stress, or it can be anxiety, maybe afraid of not being loved or anything, maybe you should think about it. Maybe you should ask a professional to help you to sort out and see what kind of dog would fit you. So maybe your heart and your head wants a specific breed because this is what you want, and maybe it's related to the baby thing. But you really have to be careful that you don't choose just by what you see. You have to choose with what you feel, because it might not be that dog that's the perfect you. There might be another dog which is even more perfect. So don't look at the dog as a baby. Don't treat it as your child, and really think about what you need. What do you want to do with the dog? All dogs need guidance. They all need to feel safe. They need to know that you understand them. They know you know where they come from. But then they have different levels of energy and different levels of trying to taking over control in the pack. And this with taking over control, it's not because they want to dominate or anything. It's because they know the pack has to survive. So if you have a very strong-willed dog and you're not very strong-willed as a person, it's going to be a clash. I would also say that many of these dogs we think as like big and dangerous. They are not that way. It's just a picture of the world. It's just a perception of the world we put on the dogs, because they're actually very loving and caring and often very good family dogs. So in best of the worlds, I would of course ask you to help me, to help you find the right dog for you. But just really take some time before you throw yourself in and go and buy the dog. Think about these questions, and also think about, how do you want your life to be with the dog? Are you ready to invest 1 year, maybe 2 years in the transition period, in the training period, in the getting to know each other? Are you willing to read a book or do a course to understand the nature of the dog? Are you willing to commit to maybe one method instead of committing to 10 different methods? Because this is what creates problems with the dogs. There are hundreds of thousands of books and tips and blah blah out there, but if you don't do the same thing every day with your dog, it's gonna get confused, and then you're gonna have these problems. So I'm not saying that the way I think about dog is the right way. I'm telling you to choose one way, because this is the main thing that makes people frustrated with their dogs, is because they've been trying 10 different things for 2 years and nothing works because they never followed through. So we need discipline as dog owners, and we need discipline to do the same thing for a longer period of time. And really feel into our stomach. Does this feel good for me? Do I really want to do this training session? Do I really want to push my dog's butt down to make it sit? Do I really want to put the collar up here on the throat to make it listen to me, or so I control my dog? What do you want to do with your dog? It's really important that you listen to your gut feeling. So these are the most important three advice, I would say, 3 pieces of advice. And please read something about dog communication before you go and buy a dog. I mean, I have a course, it's called License in Dog Communication, because every dog owner should have some experience with dog communication before they buy a dog. It's like the driver's license. You know, you can't drive a car without taking the driver's license. You can't take care of a dog without knowing how it works, because it's not a human being. And you invite the dog into our human world, and the dog doesn't understand anything, because the dog is from nature. Instincts are from nature. So expecting the dog to stay at home, sit nicely, not jumping, not barking, but still coming to you every time you want a pet, and all these demands we have as dog owners, it's a lot to put on the dog. So you need to understand how you can create this beautiful, calm, trustful relationship with your dog by understanding, reading, maybe doing a course in it, and respecting that this is another individual. It's kind of like with kids too. I mean, we don't learn anything until we understand how kids work. Why do they scream? It's not because they want to be like a naughty kid. It's because they're trying to talk to us, but they don't know how to explain to mom or dad what they want. So they try to get your attention, and they try to see who are you by having a specific behavior. It's the same with the dogs. The dog is always trying to find out, who are you behind this mask or whatever we human beings can have in our everyday life. So the dog is very transparent. The dog is always gonna see you for who you are. It doesn't matter what kind of clothes you have, what kind of car you drive, what job you have. It just needs to know, how are you feeling? How am I feeling? What is our relationship, and what are the roles in our pack? So remember, 1, really think about if you want a baby or a dog, because the dog is not a baby. It needs structure, it needs frames, and it needs a family who can take care of it. The second one, think about what kind of dog you want. What is the dog life you want? What kind of breed do you want? What kind of person are you? And then thirdly, really think about looking into some theory, some courses before you get the dog, to understand where the dog comes from. And there's a lot of good information out there, and there's a lot of bad information. And sometimes we go the other way first, but you're always gonna find where you're gonna be, you know? So it doesn't matter if we do some experiences that are not that good in the beginning, because we're always gonna find the things that are good for us, but you have to be open-minded to receive this information about the dog. So these are the 3 things I find really important, and if you can get someone to come and help you pick out the dog, either by phone, picture, video, or in real life, that would be perfect, because a person who understands dogs, they would know what to recommend for you. So I hope this was something you could use, some piece of advice, or maybe you have a friend who is going to buy a dog. You can send the video to that person, and I'm gonna leave my details in the text below so you can see my website. And if you have any questions about the dog you're gonna buy, or your dog in your family right now, you're always welcome to email me, and I do these consultations both online and physical, but as I'm living in Stockholm in Sweden. Maybe if you're not in Sweden, I can also help you by the phone, because I am actually able to understand what's going on between you and your dog without seeing your dog. So I hope this was interesting for you, and I wish you a very good day. Bye.